divided by 102 minus 1. It is 2.9%. So when inflation rate increases, we call it accelerating inflation. That inflation rate is actually increasing. Then let's say it goes to 106. It will be approximately 1%, 0.95%. So now price has increased. It is still inflation, but the rate of increase in inflation has slowed down. This is known as disinflation. That rate has slowed down, it has decelerated. Then let's say price decreases to 104. So it is approximately 2% decrease. This is known as deflation. So remember the difference. Deflation is negative inflation, in which price itself is decreasing. Disinflation is the scenario in which price is still increasing, but the rate at which price is increasing has dropped. And hyperinflation is the very high inflation. For example, 500%, 1000%, 80%, and 100%, and so on. Moving on, what leads to inflation? So there can be two factors leading to inflation, either demand or supply, right? If supply changes, prices change. If demand changes, prices change. What causes a change in supply? It is primarily cost of production. So that means there are two major factors leading to change in inflation or leading to inflation: demand and cost. If demand increases, prices will increase. This is known as demand pull inflation. If cost increases, company will produce less because it is now less profitable. So they will cut down production. So if this is your demand and supply curve. So if demand increases, price will increase, and so that is demand pull. If cost increases, companies will cut down production. When they cut down production, their supply curve will shift left. When it shifts left, price will increase, and that is known as cost push inflation. That is the increase in price due to cost push. So remember both cost push inflation and demand pull inflation. Secondly, no matter what, even if an economy is efficient enough to employ all the resources, even then naturally there will be some rate of unemployment. That is, naturally there will be some rate of unemployment in an economy, even if everything is going fine or good. That natural rate of unemployment is known as NARU, natural rate of unemployment, also called NAIRU. Just remember the words or terminologies. NARU or NAIRU are natural rate of unemployment. Another key point to note is, remember that a demand pull inflation is easier to fix because demand can quickly change, but a cost push inflation is difficult to be fixed because it eventually leads to permanently higher prices, because it will only change when the companies increase their supply, and companies will only increase this, and increasing the supply is more difficult than changing the demand. So demand can change anytime, but to increase supply, capital expenditure will be required, and they need to be sure enough, or they need to be assured of the future growth or future higher demand or expected demand. So remember, cost push inflation will be difficult to reverse or manage. Demand pull inflation can easily be managed with little or no. So inflation के साथ नहीं, it says that generally what causes your inflation and cost push inflation. In cost push inflation, your unemployment has a major role to play. Why unemployment has a major role to play? It has a major role to, or employment has a major role to play, because it depends on cost. If cost increases, unemployment rate increases. Why? Companies lays down worker. So there is a link between cost and unemployment. That means any changes in cost push inflation or any changes in unemployment would impact each other or will have some impact on each other. Eventually this NAIRU or NARU not directly related with cost push inflation, but that is just a concept that you should know, because unless you know it, you wouldn't know what will be the future unemployment rates or how will the unemployment rate change. So this is something that will naturally exist in the economy. Even if you are operating at the efficient level, this will exist there. So this is not a source of concern, or this wouldn't cause any significant changes in inflation. So that is just a concept to know. Nothing in particular. So we discussed inflation, we discussed unemployment, we discussed capital spending, we discussed consumer sentiment, we discussed inventories. All these are different economic variables and economic indicators. Key indicators that we discussed at the start were capital spending, inventory, and consumer sentiment. In addition to these were the only three, but there are in reality there are many indicators which can indicate something about the economic movement. And those indicators can be classified into three categories: leading, lagging, and coincident. Leading means those indicators which tells you about future, that what will happen in future. Capex is a leading indicator. Number of hours worked. So as soon as number of hours works increase, so it will either be coincident or leading, because if today hours are working, then future production will be high. That will be coincident more than leading. Orders. So if orders for raw material have increased, that means there will be more production in future. So orders for raw material. So generally anything related to production or anything going into production or any change in the resources going into production would generally fall in leading category. Anything which is action oriented, which is a response to economic movement, will go into lagging, like unemployment. And coincident are those which will happen at the same point in time, that is the anything related to the production itself or at the time of happening at the time of production. Mostly an indicator would be coincident and leading at the same time. You will also see indicators being classified as leading, as lagging, and coincident. For example, inventory to sales ratio. If you look at its if you look at it initially or a sudden change in it, that is a leading indicator. But if you look at a stable change in it, then it is a lagging indicator. So that's how it will work. Now the question is that if you have so many leading, so many lagging, so many coincident indicators which are given here, so these all are leading. If you look into it, average weekly hours, average weekly initial claims of employment, manufacturers new orders, vendor performance, manufacturers new orders for non-defense capital goods, S&P 500 stock index. Why stock index? Because stock index tells you about future. Why? Because investors would react on the basis of future expectation. So equity market or a market would change for future already. Anything related to future is already priced in. Money supply, interest rate, and so on. So there are so many leading and so many coincident. Employees on agricultural payroll, real personal income, industrial production index, manufacturing and trade sales, and then so many lagging indicators. I don't think that you need to memorize all of these. As long as you have an idea about it, that is good to go. Average bank, commercial, ratio, change, but you need to know the major ones like capital spending, consumer behavior, inventory to sales ratio, unemployment rate, inflation, and activity ratio. So these are leading, but now the question is that if there are so many, maybe 5 indicators tell you that economy will go up, other 6 indicators tell you economy will go down. So how will you decide whether a overall picture is positive or negative? So in order, and it will be difficult to analyze all the indicators separately. So to make it easier, there are indexes which you can use, there are indices which you can use. So there is an index of leading economic indicators which takes different economic indicators, and based on that or based on some kind of averages, it tells you an index level. If this whole index is going up, which means overall leading indicators are going up. If it is going down, that means it is going down. Similarly, there is coincident economic index, there is lagging economic index. So there are indices which you can use to find out the future direction or current direction or past direction of the economy. Otherwise, if you look at all the indicators individually, then analysis will be difficult. And also maybe some leading shows you a positive picture, others show you a negative picture. Not all will show you the same picture. So this is about business cycles. Reading, go through the indicators. I think as long as you know you have an idea about it, you should be able to do it.